I really love the subtle differences. Like you could almost use this to describe the warp as well, but it's not
really.
quite
Like
the same thing. It's not at all the same thing. This exists. The realm of chaos exists regardless of whether or not they're immortals. It just exists. So the gods of chaos, as I understand in fantasy, are more established forces rather than...
Yes, they are real.
They are real, exactly, and that's the difference. They are proper gods, whereas in 40K, they're not. They are, but they're not. Yeah, they're manifestations of.
They exist only
ether.
because people let them keep existing.
Yes, precisely.
If people were to stop sinning in its entirety, stop lusting for death, to stop stagnating, to stop changing, but at the same time to stop wanting for anything at all, then the Chaos Gods would cease to be. But not here.
No.
Here, because of the will of man, the will of mortal, and more so, the will of chaos itself.
Yes.
Horrors will continue to pour forth into the world that was, sorry, don't use that term, the old world, until nothing remains.
Until nothing remains, exactly. Exactly, beautiful. And again, it's just one of those things a bit more compelling. Like, there's more skin in the game, as it were, for Chaos, really, because then things matter more to them. Their goals matter more. Their outcomes matter more. It's all a great game and all fun for them. But cuts can sting. Wounds can burn, as it were. Setbacks can be
Another
had.
thing I love so much more about Fantasy's demons
Yeah.
is that Fantasy's demons are demons. They exist. They're real. They have personalities. They can talk to you.
Yes.
The demons in 40K are emanations. They aren't actually real, truly. They are just the form most commonly taken by the servants of the Chaos God in question.
Yep.
So the demons in Fantasy, that's how we got Skulltaker, of course, who is just a bloodletter at the end of the day, but actually has a personality that allowed him to rise above his kin.
Yeah.
This would never fly in 40K.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. There's more potential for story in a lot of ways, particularly from the demon side. The darker side just has more room. It doesn't require the mortal minions as much to tell stories.
Yeah, because if you're telling stories in 40K as a demon faction, your story basically starts and ends at, there are humans, they are sinning, therefore I should exist.
Yeah, I would agree with that largely.
So you get, it's a lack of real, like, you can't name your demons in a crusade in 40K. It doesn't work. If you do name them, they're temporary at best.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Before they are subsumed back into the raw stuff of chaos. Agreed.
Yes, but in Fantasy, they are truly real, and that is awesome.
It is awesome. It really is. All right. Sorry. Now
it means when someone ascends to demon princehood, it's so much more important because instead of being you are now partially made of warp stuff, it's you are partially a god.
You are partially, literally, yes, exactly. And you're not. And again, another important distinction between 40K: when Mortarion ascended to demon princehood, they literally gave up free will in its entirety. They are not.
Yes,
they are
absolutely.
now absolutely. So they're more slaves. Pawns of chaos. Exactly. The reason why Bellacor's whole story exists is because he has the will to refute, to throw down, to refuse the gods. And thus Bellacor exists. Cursed, outcast, resisting.
One of the greatest differences of Fantasy and 40K.
Yeah, absolutely.
The demons are handled entirely differently.
Completely.